What's up, everybody? I want to tell you about Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting Anchor on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. So download Anchor, the app, or go to anchor.fm to get started. And I'm a veteran, so let's hear some more military cadences. What is up, you wild banshees, you? I am doing pretty good for a Monday morning, a very early Monday morning. I had a pretty good weekend. What did I do? My son moved into his first real official place. I had to help him out with that. Very tiring, but exciting. Just buying him new things, spending money per usual. But it's worth it to see your child have their own. Let's just hope that everything goes well and he appreciates and it's different when you work for it and pay bills for it. So I think he's ready and I'm ready. And, as any parent, you want them to be safe and all the above. But I made a couple of trips there this weekend. So he seems to be adapting, and so did that. Went to a comedy show this weekend. I went to see the comedian Miss Pat. So she has a show on BET and she's pretty funny. She has a lot of raunchy jokes, which I love. She had an opening comedian. He told a lot of funny jokes. He told a lot of jokes that make you say like, oh my gosh, but I like shock and awe humor. One of his jokes he said was, he said, why do people, he was like, how does somebody with Alzheimer's die? Do they just forget to wake up? And everybody was like, but yeah, that was kind of wild, but it is an interesting question. He was like, they just lay there this is something I'm supposed to do today. It was wild. And, they don't wake up. They sleep and they never wake up. You get it. And then he was just talking about being old and he's taking care of his dad. And he was saying how he feels like when people get to the fuel pump numbers, which is 87 in where we are. And he was like, yeah, it's time to check out. And he was just talking about getting old and life and family and all that. And Miss Pat, she came out and she has a very interesting story. And she closed with something really profound. But one thing about her, she's had a really crazy life. She said she had two kids by the age of 15 by a married man. She had been molested. She had sold drugs. She'd have gotten half her nipple shot off. She'd been in domestic violence, everything. She ended up getting sentenced to 5 years in the penitentiary. And she only had to do a year and a half. But while she was in there, she had told God, if she got her life together, if he gave her another chance, she'd get her life together. And I mean, look at her now. She was saying that she wanted to break generational curses and, just make a new life for her kids. And, that I love that because, sometimes I know even for me or whoever, even if you don't have kids or whatever, sometimes you just wonder who am I doing things for and what am I trying to achieve? And, you are doing, even if you have nothing to leave to nobody, you are doing things that your ancestors fought for. And And if you do have kids, you're trying to set examples for them and make ways for them to give them better than what you ever had. And a lot of people don't have that. I never know what that is. When I say that, I'm talking about that thing in you that sees like the bigger picture of the crap, the bigger picture of life. A lot of people don't have that. It's something about, especially somebody like her that went through a lot of stuff like that, to still see a glimmer of hope and all that is an amazing thing to be able to have. A lot of people get so stuck in like addiction and in all the things of life, molestation, all the things that she was going through, and they just get stuck. And so the fact that, even though she was in prison, and everybody kind of has their come to Jesus moments when they are in prison, but she really did, and she really changed, and good for her. She's been married to her husband for over 30 years, and she's doing well in life. I mean, she's still lifing, but I mean, that's really what it's all about, just doing the best with what you have while you're here and trying to keep going, to keep going for whatever that is. And so, yeah, this weekend was interesting, spent time with family and, family issues, and just, sometimes I think to myself, like, because I'm a big time recluse besides talking to you guys, but I sometimes look at all the things that people are going through with their family, and I just be like, life in my world moves slow until it's not, but everything is going on and everybody's dealing with stuff, and everybody has, like, I feel like sometimes we're all like pots of boiling water just waiting to bubble over until somebody moves us off, or we move ourselves off of the heat. And I know that's just so crazy, but I was just thinking, like, a lot of people are dealing with so many things internally, and they don't really have anybody to talk to about it, or just let it out, or some people never do. And I'm saying all this because it makes no sense to you guys what I'm saying, because I'm not putting so many family issues, they're not with myself, but with people out there. But if your pot is bubbling with steam, pull yourself off the fire. You have my permission to say, just to put yourself on a timeout. Sometimes you have to do that. I'm in. Whoever knows what I'm talking about, they know what I'm talking about. But sometimes we, on the outside, look like we got it all together, but inside we're about to just blow a gasket. And so for all those people that are about to blow gaskets or lose it, or, take your time off, just unplug, just because if you stay plugged in, you'll be going, like, it's just too much. Life gets too much. That's all I can really say. Especially if you're like the core and the rock of your family, like it could get too much for you, man. And I'm telling you to take a break, whoever you are out there. Take a break, man. Do something that you like to do. And listen, you're talking to a person that doesn't even really like leaving their house. Like, what do I like to do? I like to do absolutely nothing. That's my idea of relaxing. I mean, if it's a nice day, I'll go outside, read a book. I like to swim. I do those things to kind of just relax myself, but just to quiet the noise sometimes is so important. And, and I definitely love when I'm not spending money. A lot of people need to spend money to relax. I don't. I can just be doing absolutely nothing and spending no money, and it's quiet and the sun is shining. My plants are growing. I touch my plants. They're thriving. Like, I'm just quiet, and I love it because I don't like drama. I don't like, I try to unplug as much as I can. And please, guys, like, unplug yourselves. Stop being the hero for people that don't appreciate you being the hero for them. And if someone has been a hero in your life, and I've had some heroes in my life, hats off to you. I appreciate you, because people don't understand. You don't have to do nothing for them if you really don't want to. And those people that don't appreciate the things that you do for them, screw them. Because when you're gone, they are going to miss you. And so I would want you not to be gone. I want you to be here enjoying your life, and them mad at you that you've cut them off so you can take a mental health break. And if you decide to go back in and help them, go ahead. If not, don't. Like, if you don't do anything else for people, don't. And, I tell my son that all the time. I'm like, of course I'm his mom. I'll do anything for him. But I tell him all the time, like, son, like, people, they don't owe you anything. And a lot of people will say they got your back and they don't. And if they don't, that's still fine, because you, especially me being his mother, I have put him in a position where he should be okay if I'm not here no more. I try to give him all the tools he needs, even if he had to get a second job or whatever, he knows what he needs to do to take care of himself, and people don't owe y'all. People don't owe you nothing. Nobody owes you anything. And this life that we live, that we wake up and live every day, it is a gift. Even though sometimes it's crappy as heck, like, it's still a gift, because some people have been through worse and they still find a way to just smile and succeed. So I don't know. I've heard a lot of life stories today, especially like going to a comedy show. Comedians always kind of tell you about their personal life and all their struggles and the things they've gone through, and they laugh to keep from crying. And, most comedians are the saddest people, but they tell jokes they like the laughter from others, even though inside they'd be like miserable. But I've seen a lot of life stories, heard a lot of life stories. I was watching Sopranos this weekend, and I was just, you can't tell me that Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini, did not die because he was in that role. Every role, he's eating, he's fighting, he's drinking, he's having sex, he's stressed, he's running a mob business. Like, I know that show contributed to him dying at a young age, because the man played the heck out of that character. But even Tony Soprano, the most complicated man of trying to fill his father's shoes and run this family and have a marriage that was terrible and kids that were spoiled, and just even him, who was just inherited things and inherited status and had all these fake people around him at all times, and he started having like anxiety attacks, out of nowhere, because he was overwhelmed, but he didn't know how to deal with it. And even Tony Soprano went to a therapist. But I just look at the mess of him and his family, and although it's a fictional show, you see so many things in yourself in that family. You see the arguing, you see the battles, you see the family name. I get so sick of people like feeling like because their last name is something we gotta stand on that. I can tell you right now, we don't live in those times anymore. Like, back in the day, a family name didn't mean something, and people did have respect, but those families were full of secrets and full of sickness. Now it's not so much with the family name. So I feel like everybody should kind of stop pretending to be this thing that they're not, because it's killing y'all. It's killing y'all, and y'all have walked in shoes that y'all didn't even want. Look at Tony Soprano. He didn't want those shoes from his dad, really. If he could have been a normal schmuck, or a normal, I don't know what the Italians say right now, I need to watch some more. But if he could have probably been a normal, regular old dude, he probably would have. But he just didn't ever, It is interesting. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I just thought that was interesting inside, and talking a little bit to you guys about my weekend. But let's get into some news, shall we? So, according to the Manhattan DA, Trump might be getting indicted. And McCarthy is saying Americans should not protest if he is indicted. If Trump gets indicted, I will be shocked. I mean, he's been indicted before, but meaning arrested. If he gets arrested, I will be shocked. But we will see. We shall see. There was an avalanche in Colorado. One person was killed. This California father was arrested and charged with possessing child sex abuse images after his wife found a hidden camera in the bathroom. So this father in California, Ryan Revito, he had a hidden camera in their guest room and in their guest bathroom, and the police and FBI found over 900 images of like child porn and just people unknowingly getting undressed and everything. So they arrested him, and the wife had like filed a restraining order against him and everything. But that was just a crazy story. It's just, I mean, that was her own husband, and his, sometimes his children were using that bathroom, and it's just, those are just some of the scariest things. Let's see what else I saw. There was a few stories going around here that I was reading. Then, let's see. So, okay, yeah, that was another show I watched this weekend, was Swarm. It's on Prime, and it has the Chloe Bailey, who is the Hallie and Chloe are sisters. Her sister's going to be the new Little Mermaid that's coming out. And anyway, Chloe was in this show called Swarm, which I watched this weekend, and it's basically about Beyonce, but they don't say it's about Beyonce. And supposedly, like, the person in it is episodes. These fans are killing people that don't like the Beyonce character. Her name is Nyjah, but you can tell it's Beyonce because it's called Swarm, like the beehive. But anyway, Chloe is getting a lot of slack because in this thing, she was having a sex scene, and a lot of people were feeling like, one, that it was a bad career move. And these were child singers that have grown up. And, sometimes when kids grow up in society and start doing things like sex scenes, they're like, whoa, what are you doing? You're over sexualized. But I mean, what can you do? But a lot of people did not like that she has chosen that route. It was an interesting show. I watched it. I binge watched it because I couldn't stop watching it because every episode was crazier and crazier, especially since this is supposedly based off of true stories. So if you have Prime, it's called Swarm. If you're into murder, strippers, and nudity, it's a lot of nudity. Like, you see Macaulay Culkin's brother's penis in this show. So yeah. Bruce Willis, he turned 68, and his wife is emotional because Bruce has dementia really bad. So yeah, he's kind of on his last leg with that. Yeah. Oh, Bruce. In me, I think about like when him and Demi were doing those stupid whippets, and I'm like, I always wonder, like, when people do hard drugs or crazy drugs, does it affect you in ways like that? Especially with him being so young. So, Miami Beach orders a curfew after 2 fatal shootings this weekend during spring break. Miami Beach again imposed a curfew Sunday night after a bloody weekend in which 2 people died during separate shootings and large rowdy crowds sweated the street. Miami Mayor Dan Gelber said in a video posted Sunday that the throngs of people combined with number of guns has created a peril that cannot go unchecked. It sucks because I love Miami, but Miami, I don't know. Between the spring break and the freaking huge bloom of seaweed, it's really not the place to be right now, and it's sad. Let's see what else we have going on. Lots of murder and mayhem per usual, unfortunately. The big inflation has affected the Big Mac. I haven't eaten a Big Mac in a long time. The older I get, the taste of McDonald's is just not the taste of a lot of places, because I can tell that it's frozen but the price of a Big Mac in New Jersey is in New York is $5.23, Jersey $5.19, and in California $5.11. So yeah. Tom Brady has a new rumored girlfriend. I don't care enough to read who she is, but if you want to know, Tom Brady got a new woman. Killer bees. Texas dogs die after attack from Africanized honeybees. Every year we get some crazy, what was it? The murder hornets the one year in 2020. Now there's killer bees back. It's always something. That's why I'm kind of glad that I live in a cold state, because in my mind we get a better break from that. So this lady said that her husband had an affair and it was the best thing that ever happened to them. She said after he cheated, they split up, and she went to therapy and worked on herself, and he worked on himself, and when they got back together, their marriage was stronger than ever. And now she helps counsel people that have went through infidelity and come back stronger than ever. Me personally, I don't think I could do it. To get the trust back would just be very hard for me, like for real. And marriage these days is so topsy-turvy. Like, people kind of treat marriage these days like it is literally means nothing. But to me, it's like, if we took this time, we end it. And I've been married before, so I'm saying now, my 40s, like, we in this city in, so don't screw me over. And me and my husband kind of got this understanding, because we will not be splitting nothing. Like, we both gonna be broke if something happened with this marriage, because yeah. So a pet monkey was fatally shot after ripping a woman's ear off like a piece of paper. Why do y'all keep these pet monkeys? I just really don't understand at all. I tried to watch that new that show with Tamar Braxton, and they're like dating men to get engaged. Seems super fake, but if it works, it works. I never believe any of them shows. There is a new update in the Shanquella Robinson case, even though they still haven't arrested anyone yet. They still have the 26-year-old woman named Daejhanae Jackson is reportedly wanted by Mexican authorities for the murder. Attorneys Ben Crump and Sue Ann Robinson identified Jackson as a suspect in the murder via a letter written to President Joe Biden. Additionally, the correspondence revealed information not previously released regarding the Robinson's murder. The letter from the lawyers refers to some prosecutor records not previously released. According to the Charlotte Observer, Crump and Robinson sent a letter to the White House on March 13th. The correspondence was also shared with the outlet confirmed Daejhanae as a suspect wanted by the police in Cabo, Mexico for Shanquella Robinson's murder. In the letter, the lawyer implored U.S. officials to act on a pending extradition request or take over the case themselves and prosecute Jackson in the U.S. The Atlanta Black Star shared an excerpt of the letter, which they received a copy via email. On behalf of the family of Shanquella Robinson, we write to request immediate diplomatic intervention from the United States government in this transnational criminal case. The case involves the death of Shanquella Robinson, a 25-year-old ambitious, bright entrepreneur and American citizen. According to Atlanta Black Star, the letter refers to the swift diplomatic intervention of the U.S. regarding the recent case of the 4 kidnapped Americans in Mexico, as previously reported. We have just witnessed what a swift concurrent response from Mexican and U.S. law enforcement agency looks like in the kidnapping case group of U.S. citizens at Matamoros and Tamaulipas, Mexican. Both scenarios are requested on behalf of Shanquella Robinson's family require a high level of swift diplomatic intervention. Additional findings about the case are that from a recent trip Sue Ann Robinson took to Mexico, it reportedly reveals that Jackson was one of the 3 people who returned Robinson's luggage from the Cabo trip to her mother in Charlotte. Additionally, outlets that Jackson falsely informed Robinson's mother that she died from alcohol poisoning. A package accompanying the letter also features 18 pages of additional information, including autopsy, as well as some prosecutor and police records not previously released. The full medical examiner's report has now revealed that Robinson had physical injuries that occurred 12 hours before her death, whereas specifically the woman suffered a head injury that led to internal bleeding in her brain. Additionally, Robinson suffered a direct blow to her left side of her hip. The right side of her hip was also bruised, and she had bruises on one of her hands. The type and manner of her death has been labeled as violent on the report. Furthermore, the medical examiner discovered injuries to her chest wall, which are consistent with resuscitation efforts. Robinson's cause of death has been contributed to a broken neck. The Cabo Six allegedly went out to dinner following the death, which is wild. A concierge assigned to the Cabo Villa where Robinson and her tripmate stayed has also shared new information about their actions following Robinson's death. The concierge, named Suni Giselle Popco Milan, observed the group at dinner during the vacation and informed police that Robinson seemed not to fit in. When I introduced myself, she did not greet me or smile. She was indifferent, nothing to do with the atmosphere or the celebration. The next day, the man said she received a text from Jackson asking the whereabouts of the nearest medical facility. I think my friend has alcohol poisoning and needs emergency service and someone to speak or translate in Spanish for us. Papa Milan called a doctor, then received another text 2 hours later informing that Robinson was unconscious and had been hospitalized. Later that day, he was informed about her death and went back to the villa to check on her tripmates. When he arrived, he gave Jackson his condolences since she was the main person on the reservation. However, when she asked for permission to hug her, he said she seemed cold. I left that area and stayed outside to give them space to grieve. Minutes later, I heard laughter. Dang. Popkin Milan explained that the group later asked for transportation to go out to dinner. The monster who eventually beat her to death, Dejanay Jackson, the people who witnessed, recorded, and posted the murder, Winter Donovan, Alice Michelle Hyatt, Malik St. Patrick Dyer, Nazir Wiggin, and Khalil Cook. And it then shows all of them that signed in. The Shade Room previously reported Shanquella died while on vacation with 6 other friends. In November, a video later surfaced on social media showing her being assaulted by Jackson, despite Robinson's family being told she passed away from alcohol poisoning. So this case, I think Biden should definitely intervene because it's been since October and it's March. And we have seen them, and they could, just like we have prosecuted El Chapo here, like we have the ability to just go ahead and prosecute her. So why not? In New Jersey, 5 female employees overdosed on fentanyl in the parking garage. They were found overdosing on fentanyl inside the shopping center's parking garage. One woman, who were not named, were able to be revived with CPR and Narcan as they overdosed on the dangerous drug in the Okay. On the lower level of the parking garage at the shops of Riverside and Hackensack around 4:30. Four of the five women were rushed to a nearby hospital where their conditions remain unclear. As of Friday, the fifth woman refused treatment at the scene per authorities. All five were between 29 and 41. Authorities said they believe all women, of whom work at the shopping mall, ingested the deadly opioid fentanyl. He added, "I want to thank the great men and women for their swift response. Fentanyl is laced with other drugs, namely heroin, which offers stronger high, but even those with tolerances often fall victim and die from the drug." That's crazy, y'all. And they had a penny, and they are showing how small a dose of fentanyl takes to kill someone. So Fort Hood, and this story is kind of near to my heart because I was stationed there when I was in the military. We have another soldier that was reportedly sexually harassed by her superior. The Army is investigating the death of yet another female soldier who complained about sexual harassment at Fort Hood roughly 3 years since the similar death of Vanessa Gillion. According to investigators, no foul play is suspected in the March 13th death of 21-year-old Private Ana Fernanda Basalda Ruiz, a combat engineer who served with division for the past 15 months. The victim's mother says she told her last month the Army superior and other officials were harassing her. Relatives of the 21-year-old were told that Anna died by suicide, but few details have been provided to the family. Anna's mother says that Anna told her last month that an Army superior was harassing her and that she allegedly received constant sexual advances from other individuals. They said the victim's death mirrors that of Vanessa and recalls that she was murdered at the same base, similarly being sexually harassed by another soldier. This soldier ended up killing herself while being pursued by police. A report released almost a year after Vanessa's death confirmed that she had been sexually assaulted by her superior. On Thursday, an autopsy will be conducted. Her family revealed that they won't be privy to any information on her death until an investigation into the incident is complete. The Department of Defense reported 29% of women and 7% of men experienced sexual harassment in 2021. That makes for an increase, which compared to the last 2018, where it was 24%. Her aunt joined the military in 2020. Her aunt said she joined the military in 2020. However, she didn't begin basic until 2022 due to COVID. Meanwhile, Vanessa's sister says she is looking more into it because she wants to get behind, and help. But it's just sad, and I reiterate over and over again to any woman or man in the military, like, you can, if you are being harassed or whatever, go to social media. Like, this is a new era now where you can kind of like get help from somebody that's not within your unit. But don't be afraid, and don't let these people bully you or harass you. Like, I know that we're trained to get the fear of life put in us, but don't do it, guys. Don't be bullied into like just being like, don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's scary. I know you feel like you see rank or you see superiors, but when it comes to some things, especially in this age of social media, you can post about it, go live, whatever, make noise, but do not let someone get you to where you are afraid and committing suicide, or even worse, being harassed where you feel alone, because you are not alone. So many people suffer in silence in the military because they're afraid to speak up, but do it, speak up, especially now in the age of social media. You'd have so much support so fast, especially at Fort Hood. Let's get into a few Reddits. I've been reading for a while, but let me grab a sip of water and let's get into some Ask Men. Let's see. Men, what makes a woman beautiful and why? Her femininity, you cannot and will not convince me otherwise. When she is soft, loving, sweet, generous, example for others, helpful, blah, blah, blah. Personality, vocabulary, motherly characteristics. Some women have a combination of personality, demeanor, and confidence. When you meet them, you're hooked. Chemistry, I guess. I know that most men like femininity. My thing is that most men don't know what that means. Most men do want a mom. A woman on a first date describes her ideal perfect boyfriend to you. How would you react? Take notes and see if we're comparable. Happy we didn't waste each other's time during the whole get to know each other phase. Pretend to be like that to get laid. That's a good one. If she does go on about her perfect boyfriend is a chubby guy who's way more into comic book movies than one would expect from a man, I react by dancing in the aisle. That's how I react. I'll stop listening at my perfect blah, blah, blah. Somebody said red flag. That is funny. Men in long-term stable relationships, how often are you physically intimate with your partner, and is it your ideal? 4 to 5 times a week. We both have health problems, so sex is off the table, but we cuddle and kiss stuff plenty. Also, because of health issues, it's not ideal, but that's life. The 20 plus years we were having sex like kinky bunnies was beyond ideal. That's good advice from people who are no longer having sex. That scares me though, because I like to have sex, but I know that one day I won't be able to, but let me do a couple of Ask Women and then I'm out of here because I've been reading too much today, y'all. And my nose is starting to get stopped up. How should a man respond when a woman is unjustly inflicting physical violence on him? Someone says press charges. You should remove yourself from the situation, walk away, run away, whatever it takes. If he cannot remove himself without using force, then he should. You know what was interesting? Because my husband, so this weekend when we were at the comedy show, those people were in there drinking. And so the woman's restroom line was super long. So my husband, he went to the bathroom or whatever. And then these women just bust in there because they had to go really bad. My husband's as he says, taking a piss. And these women just bust in and, nobody cares. And he's like, that's what be bothering me about women, because y'all can kind of do whatever you want. And I mean, he's kind of right, because who's going to say women, and these are one of the few times that women can kind of do it. I won't say we always get to do what we want, but in situations like that, if a man were to do that, it would be but this is 2023. People kind of do what they want sometimes. Let's see. There's that saying, you can't say that to a woman. Ladies, what can't you say to a man? Let's see. Is it in yet? That is funny. You're being a little fussy drives them bananas. I know a guy who sold his car because a woman told him it was cute. That's hilarious. Call him sassy and watch him defend himself like he's about to be executed for mass murder. He didn't like that. Men do hate when you call them sassy, soft, feminine. Oh man, it drives them crazy. Anything that sounds like you're comparing them to an ex, he isn't the same person as your ex, and you shouldn't want him to be. Don't even think about it. Telling them that another man has a bigger dick or is better in bed. Whoa. Things like man up, be a real man, you're acting like a girl. Yep, that's what I said. My husband hates to be compared to his father. Or any, if you compare my husband to any Nimrod or weirdo, he does not like that. Yeah, I can go all day. I told my ex he looked like a twink, and he did, but I had no problem with it. He did. You have a subpar penis. These are funny. The is it in yet definitely took the cake. You know, if a man is talking slick, I mean, I wouldn't say that during sex. It was like really like fighting words. Whoever said that is super brave, but that is funny. That would be a good in a movie script. I would watch that and I would laugh. Anyway, y'all are wild out here. I will be back tomorrow, of course. I don't know how I'm so awake and alive, but I'm happy for it. I'm not dragging on a Monday, which is so shocking. But F is for Family is signing off. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. And remember what I said. Stop being people's savior. Let someone save you for once. I am signing off.